Gentlemen, what is going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler. I'm the host and the founder of the Order of Man podcast and movement. Welcome here today and welcome back. This is my first video back in probably 2 to 3 weeks. So this will be back on YouTube and we'll start getting our videos up and running. You can see my studio is a little different than it's been in the past. We're in the process of rebuilding the studio and improving again the quality of the video and all of that stuff. So just bear with me. We're gonna get it up and running, and we're gonna keep delivering some good quality information to you. Hopefully, information that you can apply in your life. Sometimes, one of the things I've been thinking about over the past little bit is that it's it's easy to get the advice. It's definitely harder to implement it. And the whole goal of this podcast is obviously to share ideas and concepts that will help all of us, myself included, on our own path to personal progress and growth as men. But I just want to commend those of you who are applying the information, who are using the information, who are incorporating it in their lives, improving your lives, improving other people's lives, which of course is one of our goals as well. I want to thank you for showing me an example, setting an example of what that looks like. So this one today, I wanted to talk with you about something very, very briefly. This isn't going to be a long Friday Field Notes like I've done in the past. A lot of you have heard about my own personal struggles over the past 6 to 8 months with regards to my prior alcohol abuse and the relationship issues that have stemmed from the way that I was behaving and showing up and the way that I was performing, which was I was going to say not good, but it's probably worse even than that. I was able to delude myself and pull the wool over my eyes for so long, and I've woken up to the reality of the way that I was showing up. Uh, and I got thinking about how easy it is to attempt to walk the path of redemption, attempt to fix yourself, the path to improvement. And what I've realized is that so many people along the path, they don't want to see you do it. They don't want to see you improve. They don't want to see you get better. They don't want you to heal. And I think the reason that they don't want that is because if you can do it, then they don't have an excuse for doing it in their own lives. And these people are toxic and these people are poisonous. And all too often, we let the baggage and the problems that other people have in their lives, we let that consume our lives. We dictate what we're going to do. We dictate how we want to improve and how we want to get better based on somebody who's hurt, somebody who's scared, somebody who may have their own skeletons in their closet and aren't willing to share those things, somebody that's trying to deflect in some cases. And we allow that to poison our well. We allow their animosity and their contention and their vitriol and their hostility and their anger and frustration towards their own lives to now not only stay there, but like droplets in a well. When you drop poison into a water supply, you can't then go out and extract that at some future date. It taints all of the water supply. And I see that happen, and look, that happens in my own life based on some of the current events and things that I've been sharing with you guys. There is things that people have said and done, and that is like poison. And I've allowed it in some instances to permeate my life, but I've done a pretty good job at keeping that stuff at bay because I'm not interested in getting wrapped up in bullcrap. I'm not interested in hostility and animosity towards others, towards the people that I love, and other facets of my life. Now, if we're doing this on video, if you're watching the video, I wanted to pull up something here real quick because I had made a point to somebody the other day regarding poisoning the well. I said, let's see, this is a big part of the reason men don't talk about their problems. If they have issues that are called pussies, If they don't share their issues, they're told to be quote unquote, be vulnerable. When they're vulnerable, they're shamed for trying to correct past mistakes. And then we let these conversations and we let this hostility and animosity towards us spill over into our growth and our personal journeys. And I got to tell you, it's not a great way to live. You know, as I'm going through the relationship issues that I have, and the divorce, you know, the pending divorce, I've had people, even close people, who are like, "Oh man, I don't know how you do it." Like, I would be angry, I'd be upset, it would just piss me off. And look, there's days where certainly I feel that way, but I'm not going to behave out of that emotional response because I don't want to be angry. And that's something that we really need to be aware of, is that we can actually control our response. We can control the way that we show up. You can be angry and then respond differently than what most people would assume an angry person would do, right? Because what do angry people do? What do we naturally assume? Well, we assume they would lash out, that they would use words to hurt other people, that they would use aggression, maybe even violence. You know, we see these school shooters, they're using violence. Those are angry people, those are hurt people, and they're using violence to prove a point, to hurt other people so they're as hurt as they are. I'm not interested in that. Not interested in that with my ex-wife. I'm not interested in that with other people who, some I know, some are anonymous accounts on Facebook. It's interesting when you bring something to the public eye that people don't like, and you know they're mocking you, and they're busting your balls, and you look, and these are fake accounts, like literally fake accounts. That means that somebody is going into Facebook or Instagram or wherever it happens to be, and they're taking time to create a fake account and then telling you how wrong you are. Like, isn't that an amazing thing? So, guys, we can do one of two things. We can get consumed in this stuff, or we can let it slide. I was driving home from a lunch meeting that I had with some of our guys in the Iron Council the other day, and I saw a podcast come up with Dan Crenshaw, and it was Dan Crenshaw responds to David Goggins, and I'm like, what is this? So I pulled it up, and I probably shouldn't have, but I downloaded the episode and I started listening to the episode, and I had to listen to these guys complain about each other, you know. And look, I don't know the full story. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. I've interviewed both Dan Crenshaw and David Goggins. I had good experiences with both of them, so I don't know. But it's amazing how easily we get wrapped up and distracted in noise and nonsense. And it's like, how does this improve your life? How does some faceless, nameless account on social media who doesn't like one thing that you may have said or something that you've done or the way that you show up? When I had my long beard, I used to have a bunch of people complain about my beard. It's like that's what we're gonna do today. Like, we're gonna complain about this beard that I have, or you know, the hat that I'm wearing, how it's, you know, maybe looks a little crooked, or you know, instead of wearing this earbud, you should wear that earbud, and that camera angle sucks, and this microphone's horrible, and you're this and you're that, and I guys, we can't be distracted by it. And I know this is a little bit ironic because I'm focusing on it right now, but I'm focusing on it right now so that you can begin to identify what is noise, nonsense, and clutter, and then what should you actually be doing with your life. And I think the things that we should be doing with our lives is focusing on our vision, focusing on the men that we want to become, focusing on the objectives that we have, focusing on the things that we can do on a daily basis to improve ourselves and our surroundings and just get better. And we have to ask ourselves if these little devices, and if the social media accounts, and if the substances like alcohol, for example, which is something I am susceptible to, if that is really going to help us, like if it's that much of a better addition to our life, or if it's just tainting the water supply, if it's poisoning the well. And I think if we can do that a little more effectively, and look, I'm no expert, but I am trying to identify what's good in my life, who is good in my life, who supports me, who cares about me, who uplifts me and edifies me, who calls me to be something better than I currently am because they see the potential in me, and who are the naysayers, who are the haters, who are the people who just are never going to let you succeed. What is the noise? What music are you listening to? What information are you consuming? And I think we've got to be pretty careful about what that does to our mindset. It's very cunning. It's very sneaky. It's very crafty. This poison enters our minds in very unassuming, unrecognizable ways. And then we start operating our lives by this stuff. I was watching a video tonight, and I don't know how true, I don't know how accurate it is. It was on YouTube, and it looks like it was an experiment done some time ago. And he put fleas in this little jar, like a little canning jar, and he put the lid on, and they left the fleas alone for 3 days. And then they took the jar off the lid, and the fleas were jumping, but they wouldn't jump any higher than the lid that was on previously because they had been conditioned to behave a certain way. And then it looked like they had taken the fleas dumped it over and taken it complete out of the jar. And you could see the fleas moving in what looks like the shape of a jar. Even the jar is not there because they've been conditioned to behave that way. And in the video, it also said, and again, I don't know how true this is, but in the video, it said that their offspring will also learn to operate within those parameters based on what their parents had done and how they had been conditioned. And so we don't even know. We don't even know why we do the things that we do. But I'll tell you what, there's negativity that's coming into our lives that's poisoning our wells. And if you're angry and you're hostile and you're upset and there's vitriol in your heart, that's coming from somewhere. You've allowed it into your life. And if you've allowed it into your life, then you need to identify where it's coming from and shut it off immediately. Immediately. These are accounts on social media. These are faceless, nameless accounts on social media. This is the noise and the nonsense from political pundits and celebrities who want to get you riled up and worked up. We got to get rid of that stuff because we've got bigger things that we need to be doing. And again, I know I'm one to talk, right? Which is probably what a lot of you guys are saying. You're one to talk. Look what's going on in your life. I get it. But I've put a pin in that. And I'm on the path to making sure that I'm doing better things moving forward. And I hope you will too. I hope that you see that in your life and you have a desire to do the same thing. The last thing that I'll tell you when it comes to not poisoning the well is the difference between your emotions and our behavior. Because a lot of the times, and I alluded to this earlier, a lot of the times we sync them together. We think that because we're angry, then we're going to yell. Well, those are two different things. Like being angry is emotion. Yelling is an action. It's a behavior. And they might be correlated, but I think we need to create a better response time or gap, I should say, between the emotion and the response. See, I can be angry. That's okay. And you need to know this as a man. It's okay to be angry. And I know modern culture, because they're so scared of men in this tyrannical patriarchy and toxic masculinity, will say, oh, no, man, no, we can't be angry. You can't be angry. No. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to be angry. Maybe something happened to you that was unjust. Maybe you got taken advantage of. Maybe you felt like somebody did you wrong. There's all sorts of reasons. Maybe somebody deliberately did something to you or people you love. Like, it's okay to be angry. It's not okay to respond solely out of the anger that we're feeling. We need to breathe and take a step back and not allow that anger or pain or fear or sadness or sorrow taint and poison every other facet of our life. Because if it does, it makes things worse. I think about this again with my soon-to-be ex-wife, and it's like, I care about her deeply. I love her. I want the best for her. I truly do. I don't want to be hostile. I don't want to have contention and anger and frustration towards her, because we have kids together, and I do still care about her, and I still do care about me and my own well-being and my sanity, and I care about being able to serve you guys. So, does it serve anybody for me to be angry? Does it serve anybody for me to lash out or try to get at her or anybody else? Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. But if you're behaving that way, you don't have a big enough gap between the emotion you're experiencing and the things that you're doing about it. Anger, sadness, sorrow, guilt, remorse, pain, suffering, all the things that you've experienced, all the things that I've experienced and that I am currently to some degree experiencing, don't allow us to self destruct. It doesn't give us a permission slip to behave poorly. It's not a an opportunity to, prove something to somebody by getting them back. Think about the bigger picture. I know it's hard in the moment. I know it's hard when things are going wrong and you're dealing with something difficult in your life, not to want to focus all your time and attention and energy on that thing and use your anger to lash out at other people and hurt other people or even just get consumed and distracted with it. But it's not going to serve you in the long run. And it's not going to serve the people that you care about. So I guess what I'm asking you to do today, if I can be so bold as to ask you to do something, or maybe not even ask, because I mean, really, if you do it or not, it doesn't change my situation. It doesn't change my life necessarily, whether you act on it or not. But what I might implore you to do is to evaluate where little drops of poison are being are infiltrating your life. Is it certain people? Is it certain substances? Is it certain behaviors? Is it certain conversations? Is it certain information? Maybe just take a step back this weekend, get a journal out and document, hey, you know what? I'm angry and these are the reasons I'm angry. Or when I get frustrated, this is what I'm dealing with. Or when I lose my patience and lose my cool, it's because of X, Y, and Z. Write those things down because as the minute you identify them, at least now you have an enemy to fight against. I'm not saying fight as in let it poison you. I'm saying like that's the problem. So let's address it maturely and properly and come up with a better, more mature, more effective solution to our problems. But shut out the noise, guys. Drown out the noise. Know that there's people who don't want to see you win. They're I think very few people are out to get you, but certainly they don't want to see you win. They'll never let you forget past wrongdoings. There's another thing that I posted. I wish I could tell you that I remember all of these wonderful things and statements that I make, but I don't. So there's another thing that I had posted the other day. Let's see if I can find it. It was on Twitter. Here's one. Some will never allow you to forget your wrongdoings and past deficiencies. And this next part's very important. They'll scorn you for your failures while simultaneously mock you for your improvement. Purge these people and yourself from the desire for their validation. Above all, keep making yourself better. Let me read that second sentence again. They'll scorn you for your failures while they simultaneously mock you for your desire to improve. Think about it, guys. Don't allow your well to be poisoned. Very easy to let have happen. Very easy to go down this slippery slope. But I think it doesn't end well. So I hope that helps you guys. If you have thoughts, comments, ideas, strategies, things, feedback, people you want me to talk with, questions that you have for me about anything, I'm a pretty open book. I feel like I need to be an open book. I'm going to share one other thing with you. And obviously, I'm not going to share names as I do this. But somebody had messaged me the other day, and it was very important. It's very important that I share this with you because I think this will help us see. Oh, here it is. Help us see why this work is so important. So this person says, Ryan, I'm driving to work right now, listening to the Friday Field Notes. This was last week's episode, by the way. And I had to pull over when you started talking about suicide. I feel some random stranger just spoke directly to me and showed me that that someone is down in this pit with me, and this isn't the end. It opened a floodgate in me that's been blocked for a long time. Thanks for being real, man. This is the power of what we're doing. This is the importance of what we're doing. This is the importance of you in somebody's life, whether that's your spouse or your children. Maybe it's children that you coach or you have some sort of responsibility for. Maybe it's a brother or a father or a neighbor or somebody in your church congregation. You are that to somebody else. And we can't allow ourselves anymore to be poisoned by people, by behaviors, by substances, by things that aren't going to allow us to serve those effectively. So that's what I've got for you today. That actually went a lot longer than I thought it would. I tend to ramble at times. Anyways, guys, I hope that helps. I'll be back next week with another episode, another interview, and Ask Me Anything with my good friend and co-host Kip Sorensen, and of course, Friday Field Notes. So please subscribe, leave a rating and review, talk with me, communicate with me. I'm in a much better place than I've been in a very, very long time. I'm really interested in getting the Order Man movement back on track with humility and leadership development and just service. So I think we can do this together. All right, guys, I'll be back next week. Until then, go out there, take action. Do not allow your well to be poisoned, and let's become the men we are meant to be.